Hi there, my name is Sarah, and today we are making homemade salsa. My Mexican mother-in-law showed me this recipe about like a month or two ago, and I had no idea it was so simple to and easy to make homemade salsa. So I'm super excited to show you guys this today. Now, keep in mind, it's not an exact science because you don't know how hot the jalapeños are going to be, or the ratio to jalapeno to tomato. So I usually make a little extra. So let me just show you kind of what you need, and I'll walk you through it. Okay, so I have 3 jalapenos and then a serrano pepper. I usually just use one. Then um, I have 5 tomatoes. Sorry, I had to count. I'm home all day with a 1.5-year-old, so my brain sometimes doesn't work. Okay, so hold on. So I usually make extra tomatoes. So I think I'm only gonna need about 4, but maybe even 3. I don't know. It just depends on how hot the jalapenos are. So I usually do extra just in case, but not too much extra. And then you're gonna need just a little bit of onion, not too much. And then I like to use extra garlic. She usually only uses about 2 cloves of garlic, but I like to use 3 large ones. And then we're going to use sea salt. I like fine sea salt personally, but you can use whatever salt you want. And then I have extra cilantro left over from my guacamole that I just finished. So I'm actually going to add just a little bit of cilantro to the salsa, because my mother-in-law did that the other day and I liked it, but she added too much cilantro for my taste. So I'm actually just going to add a little bit and just try it out and experiment, and just keep trying things until I figure out exactly how I like it. But this is the general sense of what I like with the salsa. It's super good. And then here we have the Comal. It's just a flat pan here. And then I add foil to it to toast the jalapenos, tomatoes, onion, and garlic on it. So you can use a skillet, I'm sure too, like a just a regular skillet pan. I'm sure that would work too. But the Comal is great. I can't wait to have one of these myself. So my daughter, I'm so sorry. I do not have anyone to watch her to make these videos, so I'm doing the best I can. I apologize. I just really, really want to share these recipes so bad. So I'm just trying to work around my adorable little daughter. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Okay, so here we're gonna add the items onto the Comal. So I usually just put the garlics, and then we're gonna use probably this much onion. It's not a ton of onion. It's just a little bit of onion. I might even use a little bit more. And then we're going to add the jalapenos here, and you just kind of lay them out. I'll show you a closer view right now. Sorry, the way that my mother-in-law's kitchen is set up, it makes it a little difficult to get the best camera angle. They don't have an island. So I'll show you a closer view right now. And then we're going to add the serrano pepper. And we're going to do all 5 of the tomatoes. All right, let me show you a closer look. Okay, so this is what they look like on the Comal here. So we're going to toast it all at the same time, but the garlic and onion we're going to take off quicker because it's smaller, so it's going to toast quicker. And then the jalapenos, the serrano pepper, and the tomatoes, we want those to be like black, almost falling apart. That's where you're going to get the most flavor. I'll show you as we go through here. Okay, so we're going to start toasting it. I'll show you the stages throughout and what to look for. So this stove that my mother-in-law has, this burner that it's on gets hot very, very quickly, which I like. If you're using just a regular, stove, I would do probably like medium to medium high heat, and then you'll just churn the tomatoes and jalapenos and onions and all that throughout, so that it gets really toasty and you know, like toasted, like black almost. And you'll see it'll start to like get really almost falling apart, juicy. That's what you want. So, which I'll show you all the stages. So I'm gonna turn on the stove now and get it started. All right, so you'll see here that some of the items are actually already starting to toast a little bit. So we're gonna just flip everything here. It's a little hot, but I'm used to doing it with my hands. But you can use a fork or tongs, whatever works for you. And like I said, the garlic and the onion are going to get done a lot quicker than the rest of this. Even the Serrano pepper will get done quicker. So you just have to check it every, you know, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. Woo! Hopping. Okay, so we're gonna leave it. We're gonna check it again in a couple minutes and just keep rotating these. And then eventually you'll see they'll start to like get super toasted and start to be real juicy and kind of falling apart. That's what you want. So we'll check on it again in a few minutes. Okay, so things are looking really good. The onion is like kind of like soft. It's getting softer. Hot. And then the garlic is also getting toasty. Ooh, yeah, it's getting super toasty. Okay, so let's see how the jalapeno's doing. Oh, it looks super, super good. Super good. So sometimes you just, I don't know what it's doing. Okay, so let's see the Serrano pepper. That looks great. And let's do the tomato. Sometimes the, oh yeah, see how it's like getting really toasted and starting to kind of break apart? You want the tomato and jalapeno to get like soft, you know? It's going to get like soft and juicy. That's what you want. So you just kind of, just toast for a little bit. So worth it though. Okay, so sometimes I use the tomatoes and the jalapenos to like lean on each other if they're struggling to stay, but they're doing good. Okay, so we're going to take the onion and garlic out, and I just put it in like a little container to set to the side. The Serrano pepper, I'm actually going to leave it a little bit longer because it's still kind of, I think it could still use some time. Then we're going to move this stuff kind of to the middle of the pan. The tomatoes are looking really, really good. Oh, sometimes they're hard to get on all the sides, so I use the tomatoes to help each other kind of prop up. There. So I want you guys just to remember, in case you're like, oh my god, this is taking a long time. It does take a little time to roast the jalapenos and tomatoes because you want them really just practically falling apart almost. And it can take a little time. I think right now we're about, I don't know, like 20 minutes in, something like that. But let me tell you, it's so worth it. I know it's easier just to buy salsa at the store, but this is so much better. It's so much better. I promise you, it's so much better. So, you know, don't be alarmed if you're like, oh my god, this is taking a while. It takes a little while sometimes. but it's actually almost done. So I would say maybe like 30 minutes is like a typical time. That's reasonable. So it's a little hot. I should probably be using like a fork or something, but oh well. I'm actually going to grab one to grab the Serrano that's in here. It's kind of like, it's ready to go, but it's kind of deep in there. All right, so I'm going to get the Serrano out of here. So it looks great. It's really toasted. And we don't take anything off except for the stem. Okay, so it's pretty much almost done. We're just going to let it sit just a little bit longer, and then I'll show you how to blend it. So it's really getting toasted. So I'm going to actually just turn off the heat and let it sit for a couple minutes and just kind of let it, you know, settle before we blend it. Okay, so I'm going to take the tomatoes and jalapenos off here. Just going to set them to the side for a moment. And then we're going to take the tops off of the, like the stems off the jalapenos and the serrano pepper before we blend it. Oh, see, it looks so good. It's like juicy. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's what you want. I'm going to throw this one straight in the blender actually. So now we're going to take off the end piece here of the serrano pepper, the little stems. And we're just going to throw in all the garlic, onion, and serrano pepper in here. And then we'll take the ends off the... I'm going to just do 2 jalapenos first. This is the part that's difficult, I will admit, is guessing the tomato to jalapeno ratio, because sometimes jalapenos are hotter than other times. And my mother-in-law said, oh, well, you can smell them. I smell them and they smell like jalapenos. I can't tell when they're hotter and when they're not. I just can't tell. So what I do is I just do 3 jalapenos, and I usually start with 2, and then I do an extra tomato or 2, and then I just kind of start with like 3 tomatoes and 2 jalapenos and 1 serrano pepper, and then the garlic, onion, a little bit of salt. And I'm going to wait to add the cilantro to see if I want to add it or not. And if I do, I'm going to add very little. Anyway, so I'm going to start, you know, with smaller amounts first, and then decide if it needs that 3rd jalapeno or an extra tomato, because it's so hard to say depending on, you know, how the jalapenos are, if they're really hot or not. So we're just going to start with 2 and 3 tomatoes and see where that takes us. So I don't know. We'll see. That's a pretty big jalapeno too. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's hot. It just hit me in the face as soon as I took off the stem. But like I said, guys, it's not an exact science, unfortunately. So we're just going to roll with it. We're going to add a little salt. The salt too is also, it's not exact. So I just kind of start with a little bit. I'd say maybe like a half a tablespoon or so. I don't know. You can always add more. Less is more. Put less salt because you can always add more. So now I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And like I said, don't put too much water because the salt and the water and the tomato and the jalapenos start off low because you can always add more. So you don't want to add too much water because then you can't take that back. So I'm going to add just a little bit, and then if I need more, I'll add a little bit more. So you'll see here the water. I just added like a little bit, not a lot at all actually. So I'm going to blend this and see how it tastes. Okay, so this is the first taste test. It smells good. I can't really tell by smelling it. I have to try it. So what I do is I take a little spoon I learned this from my mother-in-law. And you just kind of put a little bit on your hand so you don't like mess with the whole thing. And then you just try it. It's a little hot, but it's good. I can't tell if it needs another tomato or not. I'm going to try it one more time. It's a little hot. I think I'm going to add one more tomato. And then I think I'm going to add just a little bit of cilantro. Just like a little bit, not a lot. It needs more salt, that's for sure. So I'm going to add just a little bit more, like a teaspoon or so, half a teaspoon. I don't know, guys. I honestly, I wish I could give you exact measurements, but it's honestly to your taste. It really is. That's why you add a little bit at a time. And then you just test it. So we're going to test it, blend it again and test it again to see if it needs any more adjustments. Okay, this is the second taste test. You can smell the cilantro. Much better. That additional tomato helped, in my opinion, with like the heat a little bit. I feel like it still needs more salt though. So I'm unsure if it needs more stuff or not. Salt or... So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put it in a bowl. I'm going to let it sit. And I think I'm going to give my daughter a nap. And then I'm probably going to try it again to see, because it's really hot, like not like hot, but like temperature hot from being on the stove. So I think I'm going to let it sit and cool down and kind of just let the juices and flavors and everything kind of, you know, settle together. And then I'll try it again and see if it needs anything else. But yeah, it's good. It's great. It's super easy too. Let me pour it in a bowl so you can see what it looks like. I don't know if this bowl's big enough, but we'll see. Yeah. And the great thing is, once it's in the bowl, and it sits for a little bit and cools down, I can add it back into the blender to add more stuff if I need to. So I'm going to save the tomato and the extra jalapeno, and I'm going to let it sit. And then in a little bit, I'm going to test it again and see if it needs more salt or something. But this is what it looks like here. Oh, I don't want to spill it. Hold on. So this is what it looks like. It's a little, like, there's a smidge bit of, like, bubbles just because I just blended it. But, yeah, that's what it looks like. It's super good. I love this salsa recipe. It's super easy and yummy. And like I said, I will check it again in a little bit to see what it needs. Hi guys, so I ended up leaving the salsa for a little bit yesterday, and it didn't need anything else. It was perfect actually. So I'm going to show you here today. It's the next day. I put it in the fridge. I actually really like to let it sit in the fridge for a little bit because it kind of helps let like all the flavors and stuff kind of combine, and just, you know, it's just great. So let me stir it here real quick and show you. Well, it's hard to get a good view with, but here's the salsa here. I don't want to spill it. But yeah, it's super great. It came out really, really, really good. And I'm really glad that I trusted my instincts and I waited before I changed anything, because it was just hot, you know, from just getting done cooking it. And it just needed to sit for a little bit, but it's great. You can eat this with just chips. You can put it on tacos, all kinds of things. My Mexican in-laws actually will make eggs, and they'll put the salsa in the eggs. They also do like a beef of some kind. I forget what it's called in Spanish, what they say it is, but it's basically like a beef that they do in the pan, and then they add salsa. It's, you know, they do things that I've never experienced before, because, you know, I'm white and I grew up in a white household. So, but I want to share a lot of the recipes. I'm just waiting for them to kind of work with me a little bit, because it is hard, you know. But I do want to show you here, though. I'm just gonna try it real quick to tell you what it tastes like, you know, after letting it sit in the fridge overnight. It's a little hot. A little hot. It's so good, though. Like, it's so good. Mm-hmm. It is a little hot, I'm not gonna lie, but I like it. And it tasted beautiful on the tacos that I had last night, which, check out those videos. I did all 3 of them together this week on purpose. I made guacamole, the salsa, and this really good flavorful shredded beef in the crock pot, and I had tacos with it last night. So good. So check them all out. But I wanted to say, for the salsa, I know I put a serrano pepper in it, but you don't have to do that. I've actually made this salsa 2 times without the serrano pepper. And the reason I say that is because my husband at Walmart, he had to buy like a big container of serrano peppers, and I only needed 1. So now I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with the rest of those serrano peppers? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I think I'm going to have to like freeze them or something. Oh my goodness, that first bite already had my mouth like, but it's really good though. But I personally like the serrano pepper if you're able to do that, because it adds like more flavor to it, and I really, really like it. But like I said, it is still just as good if you do not add the serrano pepper. If you're like, oh, I can't find it, or you just don't want to buy like a bulk of it, it works too. So anyways, well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you try it, and the recipe will be in the comments, in the description, and please check out my other videos, and please subscribe for many more to come. And I will eventually get my in-laws to let me record them sometimes. It's more just kind of navigating scheduling, you know, so, and having the time to record them. A lot of the time they just come home, whip something up quick, and then, you know, they're on their way. So I have to find the time to let me record them, you know, so we'll get there. But this is actually the salsa that my mother-in-law showed me. So this is one thing that they did show me. So I hope you try it. Till next time. Bye.